Hello again, my name is iAntonio Pattison, coming to you for another extraordinary episode, actually for my two shows, for Life is Feeling Counting the Ways and for English Coach Podcast, Living the Language. Now, there are essentially three things that I want to talk to you about today, which include some important changes regarding how I will do my show in the future, also in response to the rise of AI, among other things. This is also an invitation to interact with the shows in a different way. And I want to extend another invitation to you to join me on a most unusually uplifting journey of discipline and self-healing. Notice a quick announcement in German. Wenn du in Berlin bist und nach einer Möglichkeit suchst, deine Englischfertigkeit für die Arbeit aufzufrischen oder zu verbessern, und zwar auf unterhaltsame und interessante Weise, dann schau doch mal bei fluent.iAntonio.media vorbei und melde dich an. Es handelt sich um ein aufstrebendes Workshop-Format für eine kleine Gruppe, das samstags stattfindet und bei dem wir die Kunst des Geschichtenerzählens in der Literatur anwenden, um unsere Sprachfertigkeiten zu verbessern. Nochmal, fluent.iAntonio.media. Now, before I start the show, I just want to say as well and quickly that if you're in Berlin and you're looking for a way to refresh or improve your English skills for work in a fun and interesting way, feel free to check out fluent.iAntonio.media and register your interest. It's a budding workshop format for a small group taking place on 2 Saturdays of the month where we apply the art of storytelling in literature to improve language skills. There are not so many places, and right now we are about 50% booked out, all right? So if you're interested or if you know someone who is, just head on over to fluent.iAntonio.media. Okay, so on with the show. Right, now in the heading or in the title of the show, I mentioned the word fasting. And what is that actually about? Well, I am actually on day 3 right now as we speak of a water fast. And my attempt this time is to go for 20 days without food. No, I try to do a major water fast once per year. And the last time I did it only for 10 days, right? But this time I'm pushing it. And, you might ask, why do that? It's so funny how this fasting thing triggers all sorts of strange emotions in people, as if they start associating it with starvation or some kind of suicide thing. But, actually it's quite good. And, if you just think a little bit, about the anthropology of Homo sapiens and where we're coming from, from primitive times and so on, we didn't used to get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 meals a day. And from these tons of fantastic health benefits, I have benefited. I tested it last year and I'm happy to be doing it again. It's a profound experience that I just want to share with you. And I'll be documenting that entire journey on Life is Feeling Counting the Ways for anyone who's interested. Now, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is I want to express heartfelt gratitude to you for listening and interacting with the show. Now, for me, it's an absolute dream to be where I am today as an independent podcaster. And I feel as if I could never have made it to this point without your support in whatever form. Thank you. I want to let you know that there's some changes coming up, greater things, and I feel as if it's only the beginning. Now, I started podcasting with a promise to take my usual relaxed, accessible, human approach to your learning experience. And at this stage, I will make another one. So, I'm going to ask you right now, if you're watching in YouTube, to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet, and let your resonance be felt. If you're listening to the show in a podcast player and you're not subscribed yet, just do it now, and play your part in influencing how my podcast unfolds. I'd be very thankful for that, and also all the wonderful guests who are on the show. Now, when I say that I'm inviting you to influence how my podcasting unfolds, what I mean is that the more interest you show, I'm doing this for you. I'm not doing this for Google. I'm not doing this for Apple. I'm not doing this for Amazon or Spotify or anyone. I'm doing it for you. The more you subscribe, the more you share the show, the more you let your resonance be felt, the more I can invite more engaging guests. It makes me happy. It makes the guests happy. And the more the show will grow and the richness of the conversation that I put together for you will only get better. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you for money. But what I would ask you to do, though, is to head on over to support.iAntonio.media and see the many ways in which you can support your favorite independent podcasts. A lot of us can't really make the big ad spend, and any resonance, any comment, any feedback from any one of you is so motivating. It's a thing we live for. We do it for a calling. We're following a calling, and it's always very fulfilling to me and also to the guests when you say something. Now, the third thing that I wanted to talk to you about was, as some of you know, I have 2 shows. As I said at the beginning, this episode is going to be published on both of them. The 2 shows are, first of all, English Coach Podcast Living the Language and Life is Feeling, Counting the Ways. The English Coach Podcast is doing well. It's a little bit older and the episodes are up in their 80s. One of the things that I first celebrated is the fact that all of this is about independent podcasting. That means that you as a listener are the only one who gets to tell me what to do. Otherwise, I do whatever the hell I want. No one, absolutely no one else enjoys editorial privileges or the like here. There are no hidden agendas. There are no ulterior motives. And the answers to any questions that you might have about the show are just one click away. Just use the feedback forms or anything that you see, any means of communication that you see on any podcast page. You can use it. It comes directly to me and I'm the one who's going to be answering. And that is exactly why I can call my shows authentic, while many cannot. Now, as I said, the English Coach Podcast is doing well up there in its 80s, and Life is Feeling is also coming up. I also wanted to say to you that I'm so happy to have included life in the name of both my shows, because especially now in this constantly merging AI and ads-driven world, what else, if not the human approach, is going to help to keep us centered and grounded in reality, in tune with ourselves as human beings? None of my shows is yet monetized for ads, and while I do actually welcome the new capabilities that AI offers, what you hear now is still me. AI did not script my shows, and what you're hearing now is not some AI-generated voice. Maybe one day I'll use it for some things, but the general 90% character of my show, I suspect, is gonna stay real. That's a wonderful feeling, and that's unlikely to change. In short, and in response to this AI hype, my shows are more likely to become more human, more real, more relaxed, more accessible, and even more non-pretentious. That's a wonderful feeling. I'm just so excited about that. It's so funny that it's AI, artificial intelligence, which might end up being the thing that takes us closer to our humanity. I think I'm going to do an episode on that one of these days because, that thought is quite provocative and quite deep. Now, one of the main reasons why I started my second show has to do with streamlining my themes. Now, you will find that themes that are closely related to the lived adult learning experience or to my training practice will feature on English Coach Podcast Living the Language. And anything that is not closely related to the adult learning experience or my training practice will feature on Life is Feeling Counting the Ways. Now, quite frankly, if it's my conversations that you like, then just subscribe to both of them. Both of them are my shows, and the style of it is gonna be quite similar. It's just that the themes are now streamlined on the different topics, so to speak, which are represented by the different shows. Now again, this particular episode is an exception, and since it represents an announcement of sorts that has to do with both of my shows, right? In the rare case, some episodes might feature parallelly on both shows, like, in this case. And, it's a new direction that I want you to know about. I have some listeners for Life is Feeling Counting the Ways, and I have some for English Coach Podcast Living the Language. So I just want both of you to know. Now, each of my shows has its own domain. And if you want to listen on Spotify, just head on over to www.lifeisfeeling.de. And for my other show, englishcoachpodcast.de. Now, if you're interested in checking out all of my content, audio podcasting, exclusive videos, photography, full show descriptions, pre-recorded training media, and so on, I'd invite you to simply head on over to iAntonio.media. Now, what does that mean? The I in that domain means Ian. The Antonio is my middle name and a name I sometimes use as my artist's name. So again, www.iantonio.media. From there, you can have quick access to all my published work, together with social links on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, and a whole host of podcast players for you to choose from. I hereby cordially invite you to indulge at your heart's delight if you like. It's all freely available to everyone from anywhere, ad-free, the way it was meant to be. And that brings us back to this feasting and fasting thing that I was talking about. What is that all about? What's this feasting? It's all about what I would not advise you to do, binging or feasting on all of the episodes all at once. Now, it's definitely all good, but you can take all the time you need. On the individual podcast pages, you can follow the link entitled Archive, which will take you to lists of over 100 episodes to choose from. You can listen to these episodes in whatever order you like according to your own interest. There is no obligation whatsoever to listen sequentially. Now, before I go, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about this fasting journey. I told you earlier that it will be published on Life is Feeling Counting the Ways, and you can follow the show now if you don't want to miss it. It will be about me not giving advice to anyone as to what they should do, but simply about me sharing the experience. As I said, I'm on day 3 now, which is reputed to be the most challenging. Still, here I am, sitting and recording an episode. I'm feeling very energetic and my brain is pretty clear. I've started recording this fasting journey. I think it was yesterday and a little bit the day before, but I'm not sure when I'm going to publish them. Follow the show, Life is Feeling Counting the Ways, if you want, if you don't want to miss it. And in the meantime, you can check out the last 2 episodes, episodes 19 and 20, that I did with a very good friend of mine, Marcia. It's one episode that I waited for such a long time to do. And I'm just going to tell you, it's a very successful episode, especially on YouTube. I'm so surprised as to the resonance that I've received for these 2 episodes already. It's a warmly playful, friendly, and non-pretentious conversation. The topic we discussed is also in perfect alignment with some of the motives behind why I'm doing this little extreme fasting journey. Now, if you have any questions on whether it be that fasting journey or anything at all, you are also free to use the feedback form or the comment section that you'll find directly on the official show page for this episode. You'll also find the direct link to the official show page in your podcast player under info. And if you're listening or watching in YouTube, just go to the description section and you will see the link that takes you directly to the official show page. The reason why I'm doing this, and I'm just going to tell you straight, right? I have 2 shows. I've categorized the themes to fit to whatever show, depending on what the theme is. And, quite frankly, I just have to do it like that. I am a single podcaster. I do not have a team of people helping me to do this. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. I'm doing this as a hobby. It's just something that I like to do. So, if you want a little more to kind of keep the frequency of your episodes going, that is why I'm asking you to just subscribe to both of them. Chances are you'll get them more regularly because there are some times, and that has proved itself over the past few months, where most of the themes have nothing to do with training or the adult learning experience. And, to be fair to all of you, the English Coach podcast has not been about grammar rules for a very long time. And I think a lot of the people who tune in do that for the nature of the conversations. And what I'm saying to you is that the conversations that do ensue on Life is Feeling Counting the Ways are very similar. They're not much different, just that they have no specific connection to the adult learning experience or my training practice. So again, I'm inviting you now, and that is why I'm doing this special episode, to just subscribe to both of them if you want to have more frequency of the shows coming to you. All right? That's what it's about. Independent podcasting also means that, you get to do whatever you want. And even though it's not really recommended, I don't really have ads on my show. And if I have anything resembling an ad, it's an ad for my own thing or for people that I actually know, So, you won't find, up until now, you won't find the traditional advertisements on my show. Anyway, what I want to say was that, even though I have 2 shows, some people frown at the idea of using one show to promote the other. But you know what? I don't really make any apologies for that, because again, as I said, independent podcasting, one-man show. I'm a human being. I do not have a marketing team. And, I really don't think that is any big problem to anyone. Anybody who has a problem with it, they can just go. What are they going to do? Continue to not pay me for this free show? I don't really care about that. So, I'm just telling you in a nice way to all my people that, I'm going to be doing it this way right now as of today. And, there are going to be times when, I have more content for the English Coach podcast. If you don't want to miss it, stay subscribed. And there are also going to be other times where I have more content for Life is Feeling Counting the Ways. And that's just how the cookie crumbles, right? It's just as good, and it doesn't cost you anything to simply subscribe to both of them, all right? That's what it's about. So then, I think that was it. I made it for this episode. And as I always say, thanks for listening. And with a small win is always a good way to begin. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And bye for now.